Okay, this week I'm going to get into something completely different, but it is D&D related. So I've talked about minis before and everything, and of course like getting minis can be kind of expensive and everything. But especially with what I'm going to talk about today. So I'm actually going to be talking about painting. So usually you can go to your local gaming store, and they have you can also go to Michael's or like any arts and crafts store and get like a bunch of different little tubs of paint or whatever like this. So I would say like instead of going to like Michael's, go to like your local gaming store and get stuff and this, and I got several different colors already for myself. Now the big the thing that's popular with painting and everything is Warhammer, and of course that's like the biggest war game out there. So that's kind of like what painting derives from. So now, like a little brush, like this is like all you need. So I picked this one up like along with it was like a 3-pack. So like what you can get is basically like a 3-pack, and they come like with a little sheaths that you can put them back into, and kind of to keep from getting dust or whatever on it. So now like I said, I would say go to like your local gaming store like that. You can actually help a small business versus like a big business like Michael's or whatever. You might be paying a little more to for a small business because they might not necessarily be able to buy in bulk as like a big business like Michael's would, but like you're definitely going to be supporting your local community a lot more by going to your local gaming store and getting stuff like this, because a lot of times especially the one I go to has like a lot of events going on pretty much daily, card game tournaments, sanctioned tournaments for like games like Magic the Gathering, Disney Lorcana. They have the one I go to also has like a board game night, and they have a couple, at least a couple D&D groups that meet there, and they play pretty much every week and everything. So this is why you want to be able to support your small business and spend a little extra money to get like this and everything, because at places like Michael's you're not necessarily going to see that. So that's kind of the stuff that you're going to want to get for like your painting. Of course, just like the D&D hobby, this is going to be expensive. Now you can get pre-made painted ones like this and everything, and it takes out a lot of the work and everything, but also it takes out a lot of the fun and everything. So I would say actually get like ones that are pretty much gray or like nondescript or whatever. And that, of course, that's the whole concept of doing this and everything, is getting these miniatures so you can paint yourself. And of course, the good old cliche is so many minis, never enough time type of deal. So I've actually got one that I started painting the kind of get it close to the camera. So I started painting it, and started on the getting as my fingers are in the way. So started with the boots, purple boots, and kind of a gray axe and hammer with a brown wood, blonde hair. So now I did already paint up so this one actually was that dwarf that I just started, and it was gray. So I decided to paint this one as a blue dragon. So kind of got black. I used black kind of on its bones, and used blue because my favorite dragon for the chromatic dragons are the blue dragons, because harkening back to Dragonlance and everything. I read the chronicles, and in the first one you have a red and black dragon that appear. In the second one you have in first one Autumn's Dragons of Autumn Twilight, and then this one in the second one Dragons of Winter Night, you have a blue dragon and a white dragon. So the blue dragon ends up being Kalendros in later books that you learn out. And so and then in Dragons of Spring Dawn, and you have a green dragon that appears. So my favorite was always the blue dragon, because I always especially the original art, cover art that was on the books and everything, had a blue dragon. So a blue dragon was always my favorite because of that. So I decided to paint it up. So now I kind of use on the base and everything, I kind of use kind of the brownish or copperish color for the paint. I did, like I said, like the black on the wings, the blue for a dragon. I kind of like did like yellow eyes and everything. So the great thing is about like painting your minis is like unlike these, they come pre-painted. Like you're pretty much like, oh, okay, so you kind of like, this is what I get and everything. So versus like something like this and everything, you can sit here and actually use your own imagination and be like, instead of having like, well, let's see here, instead of doing like a staff like this, I want to do like the weapon kind of like a slightly different colorization. So this gives you like a whole like a slew of opening up your imagination and options and stuff to be able to do that. So like kind of like what I did with like the blue dragon. So now I could have probably like painted this up as like a white dragon, or like maybe even like a miniature red dragon, or even like a green or a black or whatever. But like I said, since my favorite like a chromatic dragon is the blue, I decided to, in a sense, paint it up as like a blue dragon. So now like going back to like the dwarf I'm doing, so like with the boots, I'm like, yeah, I kind of want like you kind of like get the vibes of like a dwarven barbarian or like a dwarven fighter. I'm like, yeah, okay, so this kind of like looks more on like the feminine side. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do like a kind of purple boots and everything, and of course like a blonde hair. Like I know like dwarves can be like kind of like more red hair like me, or like brown or something like a Gimli. But like that's the great thing about doing your minis, like I said, is like it gives you a whole lot more options to be able to take all these different colors. And of course there's like a shit ton and everything, and so like it does get expensive and everything. Like they say the average like people spend on their hobbies like the 250s, and there's that meme like of that Muppet kind of like looking at like yeah, oh, you sure about that type of deal. So like you can definitely like, just like getting books for like D&D, like all the flip throughs I've done and everything, it can get kind of expensive and everything. So like kind of going off on a tangent with the books, like I've always stated that like the only thing you really need to be able to play is like the player's handbook and like a set of dice and a character sheets. So like you could end up like getting away with like maybe spending like $100 or whatever, like $50 for the player's handbook, maybe like $30 for a couple sets of dice, because they do have like a whole slew of sets of like a D4, and they have like 2D6s and like a D8, a D10, and they should have like a percentile for D10 as well, a D12 and a D20. So you'll see roughly like a set like that usually goes for like $15 and everything. So you get a couple, so that way you have like some extra or whatever in case you need to roll like more than, instead of rolling one D10 3 or 4 times, you can roll 2D10 and then pick up a third, or like if you're getting 4 D10s, you can pick up 3 of them. There you go. The same thing like with this D6s, using like a character creation option of like a 46, dropping the lowest instead of having to roll 2d6 twice and everything, kind of hadn't figured out. It makes it easier. So there's like pretty much like $80 right there. Maybe you spend like another like a 5 on like a miniature like this to create like get a character. So there's like 85. Maybe you spend like 15 on picking up some character sheets or something. So for like $100 you could get started and everything. But then, like once you get into the optional books and everything, it starts getting, as you can see, more expensive, because then you like, okay, well, I want a DM, so like, okay, I need the like, I want to pick up the DM guide. There's another $50. Okay, well, I want the monster manual, so I don't have to necessarily do as much legwork for the like monster stats and everything. So there's another $50. And then like, okay, well, I want to run an adventure, so like I pick up Curse of Strahd, so there's like another $50. And then like I start picking up like more like I want a miniature for the big bag evil guy. Well, there's even like there's like another $5-10 for like a mini like this, or like or whatever. And then you're getting like $2 or $3 like for like one of these, so you can to actually start painting these, and like maybe about like $5 for something like this. So you can kind of see how like a hobby can get kind of expensive. But like you can always like piecemeal it, so like you don't necessarily have to buy everything all at once. You can like for instance, instead of getting like the player's handbook and like dice and like miniatures and stuff, what you could do is maybe get a starter set if you're just starting out, because that comes with like pre-made characters, like an adventure, like a pre-made adventure, like a set of dice. It got and like for like 25-30 bucks, you can get like a starter set or essentials kit or something. So that knocks the price down even more. And then like you can, in essence, use to start off, instead of like using miniatures, you can use like tokens, like maybe you have some like poker chips that you can use, or like pennies, nickels, and dimes and stuff. At least to start off, and then like once you start building up, like maybe like every like payday, whatever, whether you get paid weekly or bi-weekly, you can maybe spend like an extra like $20 on like maybe like you pick up like a couple of these at a time, and then like you pick up this, and then like you kind of like maybe spend like a $20-30 a week or bi-weekly or whatever to kind of build yourself up and everything. But like this, I kind of wanted to like showcase like what you can do to kind of like expand like your game and everything, taking like miniatures like this, and then kind of turn them into this, and spend more time doing something you enjoy. So this is pretty much like a whole new aspect of like the whole TTRPG space that you can get into. So like good old painting your miniatures and everything.